So first thing of the new video is Mr. Michalek. What are you doing?
I do not want to do this. I'm doing the Fender tuck. So we can take this above here, and as you can see, fits nicely. We already made up some fixing, some clip replacements here, here and here. And now we just have to make way for the harness right over here. And how are we gonna do that? Well, that's a really nice and simple question with a bit more complicated answer. Do you see this angle grinder? Yes, I am going to cut into my freshly painted car now because I forgot to do it before the paint job. Well.
Now he's simply trying to burn the whole car down.
They call me the CEO of tucked harness.
We also have got a new steering rack for the S13. What have you holding in your hands?
Did you forget how to speak English, my man?
Yes.
What the fuck? Okay, so here we have a J-Space power steering reservoir. As you can see, there's threaded fittings inside, so no more rubber hoses, only braided lines. That's kind of my style. I like braided lines very much. And now I'm going to mount this close to the stock location of the power steering fluid reservoir. And yeah, that's about it. I will have to look for a good spot.
So that's the mounting point?
I think it's gonna get mounted right here, yes.
What's that?
This is the simplified Nissan version of an oil cooler. The oil is led through here, so that's where the oil filter goes. Oil is led through here, and coolant is led through here, and the coolant cools down the oil. So that's a small oil cooler, but we're gonna run an external one too, so we can have even cooler oil. Just like me, I'm also very cool.
And this is Marek.
Very nice. Fresh O-ring from Nissan, Japan.
Is this Japan?
This
Japanese domestic market?
This is Japanese kurva market.
Ah.
We buy parts and hookers. For everybody asking themselves, this is the part number.
For what? Just showing the part number and not saying what it is.
That's your part to find out. I'm not handing you information on a silver tableau or tablet. I don't know how you say it. But as you can see, fits very nice, as it is the original part number for this thing. Yeah. So you're supposed to torque it from 27 to 33, and since my torque range only does 40, I put it a little bit below 40, so it should be around 35. Should be enough, but not too much. Didn't break, so it's not too much, so it's okay. And now we're also going to torque this to spec.
You have to tell me you had to rotate this?
Yeah, I had to rotate this 90 degrees because of the way it fits. And now, as we can clearly see, it fits a lot better. Those are connected, yes, here. and this goes out. And here, that's one hose for the cooler, and there is the thermostat, and this is the second hose for the cooler. So that's how the CA cooling system works, without mentioning the 15 billions of hoses underneath the intake manifold, because those are a pain in the ass. But we will get to that later. And I forgot the gasket again. Time to take it back off.
Hey, guess what we found?
Yeah, that's the gasket we need. Now we can put it back in. So before we start swapping the engine back into the S13 that you can see in the background, we might as well tell you some specs about the engine that we built. So we are going to start with the internals. Inside this engine are some forged JE pistons, 8.5 to 1. Then we have some beefier rods also from JE. Then we have some ACL main bearings and rod bearings. The crankshaft was rebalanced, and we also have some Tomei pong camshafts and some reinforced valve springs and valve seats. Then about the other things we did to the engine, let's start right here. As you can see, if you're familiar with the CA18, this is a different cam sensor because we swapped out the CAS system, the stock CAS system, for a trigger kit because we are going to go high-tech standalone ECU. So we have two separate signals for the timing. One is right here, you can see the cam sensor, and one is down here, that's the crank sensor, the crank angle sensor. How this works is there's a small wheel with some notches behind the harmonic balancer, and yeah, behind this harmonic balancer, this sensor grabs some signals from this wheel. This kit was made by Boosted Builds on YouTube. He only did some small stock of them, but if you drop him a message, I'm sure he won't say no to you if you also need a trigger kit for your CA18. The good thing about this trigger kit though is that you do not require to mill down the oil pump as you require on, I think, every other trigger kit for the CA. Then we also adapted a fluid damper for the RB26 engine. And because we adapted the fluid damper, we also had to do some other pulleys. Those are from Techno-Rage Developments, a small company in Malta. So those are plug and play. We also did some different belts so those fit. Pretty basic mods. We did polyurethane engine mounts from Drift Shop. Those are the street versions because the race versions were even sturdier, and we didn't want that because all the bolts would come loose then on the setup. We also did something to the PCV system, and that's we replaced the original fittings and the rubber hoses with AN fittings. So those are going to be ran on this side of the engine bay to a catch can, and the catch can is going to be ran back to intake. And we also did something on the back of the engine because of the oil pooling in the head issue. And that's, we did some head drains. And the head drains go straight back into the oil pan. The oil pan is also custom made from a dude in Portugal. If you also want an enlarged oil pan with baffle plates, be sure to hit up 90s Rust Fab on Instagram. Name is below. Awesome oil pans, awesome guy. Shout out to him.